On a Sunday evening, police received a 911 call from an unlisted number.
911, what's your emergency?
I would like to report a kidnapping. There was a man. He got away. He needs medical attention.
Can you repeat that? Who needs medical attention? Is everyone breathing?
He is conscious and...
Okay, ma'am, can you tell me your address?
Please send someone quickly.
Can you please repeat the address?
Without a clear address and with an insufficient call duration for a phone trace, police were unable to ascertain the exact location of the call. But a little while later, from the home phone, she called back.
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, I just called. The man is back. Please hurry.
Ma'am, stay calm. The report has been dispatched, and they will be there any minute.
But by the time police arrived, officers on site could do little more than try to make sense of the carnage. This was the most violent incident that had ever occurred in the small town of Hamelin, New York. It was a day that started with so much promise for newlywed couple Jerry and Lauren Eindringling. They had just moved to the country town of Hamelin from Queens, New York, that very day.
The couple had barely unpacked yet. There were still boxes all over the house. They seemed to call it a night early. Found a box of wine in the cupboard, some cold beer in the fridge. Otherwise, the fridge was empty, except for a few leftover takeout containers.
But takeout and beer weren't the only things detectives discovered on the scene.
It was really just chaos. Utter horror. In my 10 years in Hamelin, I've never seen anything like this. Worst I ever saw was a couple animal attacks a few years back. But this was a whole new ballgame.
There were pools of blood on the floor and blood spatter on the walls and furniture. Forensic officials found traces of hair from several individuals, but there were no bodies in the home.
The amount of blood in the house was very unique, if only because the volume of it. An average person has around 8 pints of blood in his or her body, but in the house, detectives found closer to 23 pints of blood. If the couple were bled out completely, butchered, for example, that leaves 7 pints of blood totally unaccounted for.
Though detectives are still evaluating samples, the grisly scene told a tale of a drawn-out evening.
The only way to understand whose blood belongs to who, as all blood just looks like blood to the naked eye, would be to borrow an evaluative tactic from paleontological science. Detectives laid a grid over the pool of blood in the home, labeled clearly. They took 100 samples from the pool. If there were DNA from 1 or 10 people here, this would be the only way to narrow that down.
This all seemed like a game of Clue to investigators. Who were the victims? Who were the villains? What happened to the young homeowners who seemed to vanish into thin air?
Based on blood and hair taken at the scene, we have reason to believe that there were as few as 3, but as many as 6 individuals inside the house that night. Additional fingerprints help to corroborate this hypothesis.
But the question is, who do these prints belong to? We'll dig deeper on part 2 of Horror in Hamelin on Forensics.